Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to continue with our story from Owl at Home, The Guest. So if you need a little refresher on the story, hopefully you watched the YouTube video of the reading of the book, or you can go back and watch yesterday's video where we read through the story. And I hope you have your story elements chart ready, because that's going to help you review the story as well. And we're going to reveal the answers and see who has some brain matches to match what I filled in for my different parts of the story. So let's take a look. Who were the characters in the story? I think it's pretty obvious that Owl was the main character in the story. And I added some character trait words. You didn't have to do that, but I just added that in to tell you a little bit more about the character. So I wrote that Owl was kind and friendly. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Did anyone get tricked with this other character? Winter. Even though winter is a season, the way that the author wrote the story, it actually made Winter a character in the story. And Winter was actually the guest. And the character traits that I wrote for Winter are rude and messy, which I'm sure you know why I wrote those, but we'll talk about that too. So what was the setting of our story? Remember, the setting is where and when the story takes place. So the story was happening at Owl's house. And when, the time, was at night. And I even added in, you could write that it was happening during winter. So even though winter was a character, the season that it was happening during was winter. And I know because it said there was snow and it was cold. So that's all part of the setting. Oops, there's a problem. What was the problem in the story? Winter is a bad guest. And my evidence to prove that is that Winter pushes Owl, gets snow everywhere all over Owl's house, and freezes the soup that poor Owl was eating. So those are all examples of how Winter was a bad guest. How did Owl solve the problem for our solution? Owl shouts at Winter and tells it to go away. And that worked, because then Winter ended up leaving. I don't know if that was really the best way to solve the problem, but that's what Owl ended up doing, and it worked because Winter left. So, did you get those? If you did, 2 claps for you, and raise that roof. Woo, woo. Nice work. We're going to do something new and a little bit different today. We have a different thinking job. We're going to talk about characters' feelings changing. So, to do that, we have to know how the character feels in the beginning and the end. So, we've done that before in guided reading, and I wanted to bring back one of my favorites, our feelings book, to show you an example of how the character's feelings change. This was, I know, a very favorite story from this one of what Tom did and what John did. So let's think about Tom. In the beginning, Tom was feeling proud. I know because he built this space capsule and all of his friends were giving him a lot of compliments. But at the end, I know Tom was feeling angry because John knocked down his space capsule. So in the beginning, Tom was proud. At the end, Tom was angry. And I know this because John knocked down his space capsule. That's what caused Tom's feelings to change. We're going to do the same thing in our story, Owl at Home, The Guest. And your thinking job is, how do Owl's feelings towards Winter change in the story? And just like I showed you, we have to say how Owl is feeling at the beginning, how Owl is feeling at the end, and what caused Owl's feelings to change. So, what's your thinking job today? You got it. This is your exit ticket for today. And we have to make sure we're saying how Owl feels in the beginning and the end, and why, the cause for why Owl's feelings change. So let's get into the story. How was Owl feeling at the beginning of the story towards Winter? If I go back to the text, there's this part that says, "The poor old Winter is knocking at my door," said Owl. So that's telling me that Owl's kind of concerned and feels a little bit bad for Winter. And then Owl says, "I will be kind and let the winter come in." So again, that's telling me that Owl is being kind towards Winter. And so if I'm thinking about how Owl feels about Winter, I would say he likes Winter and is also maybe a little bit concerned and worried about Winter, and that's why he invites him into his house. Then, we kind of know what happens once Winter comes in. So how does Owl feel at the end of the story? If I go to this part, after Winter is coming through, blowing around everywhere, this is where Owl starts to shout at Winter. So if Owl is shouting at Winter, how do you think he's feeling? You said angry. I agree. Usually when you're shouting at someone, you're not too happy with them. So Owl shouts and says, "You must go, Winter. Go away right now." So that tells me that Owl is feeling angry with Winter now. So how do Owl's feelings change in the story? You're going to write that in your exit ticket. Because remember, that's our thinking job for today. How do Owl's feelings change in the story? In the beginning, how was Owl feeling about Winter? And then what happened when Winter came into Owl's home? That would be the cause and why his feelings changed. So then how was Owl feeling at the end towards Winter? If we think like, love, dislike, hate, which one do you think Owl felt about Winter? Can't wait to see your answers. So for your exit ticket today, I have some sentence starters for what you can write. So get your paper and your pencil ready, because you're going to write this out. Hopefully you can see it. In the beginning, Owl felt, think about how Owl was feeling towards Winter in the beginning. Then, in the end, Owl felt about Winter. This is where you need your text evidence. So I know because and what caused Owl's feelings to change. If you are paying attention and you listened to our story yesterday and today, you're going to be able to rock this. So you can pause it, take a picture of this, and get right to work. Remember to send a picture of your exit ticket to your teachers so they can see your awesome work. And just like I did today, tune in tomorrow, and I'm going to give you my answers, and we're going to see who else has a brain match. All right, can't wait to see your work. Talk to you soon, Kipsters.